Hi everybody. I was recently tasked with putting together a Linktree-like website for an influencer and thought I'd do a tutorial for anyone looking to achieve a similar goal. So we're going to use my friend Sam's profile here. I don't know if he actually used Linktree for this, but usually this is what the profile looks like. You have an image of some sort, a heading of the person's name, maybe a line or two, sometimes not, and then some links that the person's pushing. We're going to use WordPress for this build. We're going to use Elementor as the page builder and Plausible as the analytics tool. Elementor recently celebrated 10 million active installs. I highly recommend giving the page builder a spin if you haven't tried them out yet. And Plausible has pretty much become my go-to as I try to eliminate Google Analytics from my life. Google Analytics has just become a platform with so much, and I find that they've kind of lost their ways. Plausible is just lightweight, open source. Your website literally loads faster by using this tool. The fact that it's open source means that you can either use it for free by hosting it yourself or pay them a couple bucks a month and have them host it, and you can just use the solution. So that's what I'm doing. I pay them for a bunch of websites that we use. They have no cookies, fully compliant. It's just a great tool. If you haven't given them a try, I also recommend using them. A fresh install of WordPress. I went ahead already and installed Elementor Pro and Elementor. As the theme that we're going with, I'm using the official theme from Elementor. It, again, lightweight, helps your website load much faster without any pre-configured, bloated stuff in there. I much prefer it. And if you need in the future a child theme, they also have a child theme for Hello Elementor if you do need that. I went ahead and created our first page. You just go to all pages, add new, call it home, and then edit with Elementor. That's going to be the only page that we actually need. And in your case, you might be seeing some other stuff. Make sure to go to settings and make sure you're on an Elementor canvas. Otherwise, you might have some pre-configured stuff in there that you don't want to see. So let's go ahead and add the one and only section that we're going to need for this. And from there, kind of start configuring things. So click on the actual section. Keep it boxed, and let's call this 700 to kind of keep it framed. You're going to see what happens here in just a minute when we start adding some widgets in here. Let's go with minimum height, I believe. That should do it. Let's actually change first minimum height and change it to view height. And then we want the entire screen. And so now you see that the section has stretched completely across the screen here. And let's drop our first widget in here. I'm going to actually add to Sam's profile, Sam's page here, an image. And then to that image, let's upload an image here and use it. So with this image in place, what we can go ahead and do is give it a radius and edit the width. You can do here whatever you think is right. I'm going to go ahead and stick with around 25 number. So it's actually sometimes easier to develop kind of mobile first. So what we're going to do is click on over here responsive and then go to a mobile screen, because then you're going to get a feel for what this looks like mobile, and then we can just add some customizations on the desktop to make it both mobile and tablet and desktop responsive. So we have here the image. We're going to go ahead and add a heading. Let me copy over, in this case, the heading. So just like that, center it in the middle. Let's see what font we have here. Let's go with Helvetica. An easy font to go with. Let's give it some weight. Maybe slightly softer. That looks pretty good. Let's go with a different color background. Let's go with, let's see here. Let's stick to Sam's theme of kind of black and white and blue. So that's going to be that. And here we have all of our elements. So I like to make sure to word it properly. And the heading, we need to change this to a different color now, since we ended up going with a different color background. So there's the heading. And what else do we have here? So Sam actually ended up having a little bio, so we can add in there. In this case, we can probably just go with another heading, and then we'll change it to be a p tag. And let's change it again to, let's go with white. And we can center it. How does it look on his end? Oh, he actually has it like this. So that works. Let's just have one line. I think that's going to look a bit better. I prefer it like that, and then center it. So just a little short snippet about who you are and what you represent. Let's go ahead and add a button. And once we have a button, we can justify it and give it maybe a radius of some sort. So let's go with maybe 10. You can make it even, more aggressive if you'd like. This is at this point up to you. I'm just showing you how to carry on with the profile. Since we're going with Sam's profile, let's see what we got here. I can inspect and come down to here. So that's going to be the hover color. And I can quickly also grab the current color. So now it's copied in my clipboard, and let's give this button the color that we want. So where are we at here? Text color, that's what we want. So that's the color that Sammy went with, and then we want the hover color as well. So we're going to take that, and the hover color is going to be a slightly darker blue. And so we should have that effect going now. There you go. And it looks like, I think the button's pretty much ready to go. Let's go ahead and copy the text here that he used. So here you go. The text goes here. And the link, copy link. The link will go here. And so that's that. And let's go ahead and duplicate, since this button, actually the text is, okay, so the text goes from black to white, it looks like. I could actually get the colors, but just to keep things moving, let's go ahead. Before I duplicate the button, I want to make sure that everything is in place according to what we're mimicking here. Again, in your case, you're probably moving faster and getting the hang of it. I'm going to go ahead and change the text color on this button to be black. So that looks good. And then on hover, the text goes to white because it's going to be darker blue. So there you go. That's exactly what Sam has. And at this point, I think we can start duplicating, and we can have maybe a few more buttons. And you'll see that as we add more buttons, everything is automatically getting adjusted. And let's go ahead and get some other information here. So this is the second button. And I'm going to get the link for the second button. Okay, so that's the blog, and let's just actually do one more. So the portfolio and work history. And let's get the link. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and delete this last one. I think you get the idea of what this is all about. You can add more, less, whatever you want with an image or without. I'm going to go ahead and update. And if we just preview it for a sec, this is what it looks like on desktop, since again, we were developing all this for mobile first. So what we'll do is, let's go back to our responsive mode. And as you see here, for desktop, we need to update everything so that way it looks according to what we want. And by the way, here's where you're seeing how we limited the outer section by width. So that way here, if I say hit on this button, justified, the button won't be corner to corner because it's being limited here in the width that it can actually extend to. And so what you can do is you can hit copy and paste style, And so everything in the actual button details, link, and description and all that stays the same, but the style carries over, or you can just modify it, whatever is easier. And so I'm going to hit update and go back here and close this out. Oh, that's not the page. This is the page that we're working on, and refresh, and it's already looking pretty darn good. So this is Sam's original page, made it slightly different, a bit more Linktree-like. And now let's go ahead and go into Plausible. I'm going to log in here on a different screen and add a website in Plausible. So at this point, you can take a look at this. This is where you should be if you're kind of copying along here. You can modify this to be whatever it is that you want. And we need to copy over the link that we're looking to track. So in this case, it's a staging link that we use. I'm going to go ahead and add it, add snippet. And now it's going to give me some code that I can throw into my website. So I'm going to leave this. We don't need the builder anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and go into Elementor, custom code, add custom code. Let's call this Plausible tracking. And this goes into the head tag automatically for us. So we're actually going to need to change the snippet of code that they give us by default if we want to go ahead and track the analytics and the clicks that are happening. So by default, this will just track, if somebody's visiting our website. But if we want the Plausible to be able to track even clicks on the website, we're going to need to modify the snippet of code that they give us. So in this case, I've already pulled up the article. I can copy this snippet of code, and this allows you to create some goals and events. That way you can track more than just the traffic. And so I'm going to throw that into here, and we just need to modify this part right here. So that way it affects our website. And I'll delete this so it stays clean. And I can hit publish, and it's going to ask us, what condition do you want this snippet of code to run? I'm going to run it on the entire site, even if there are more pages. Say we end up launching a blog, and that's the beauty of doing this on WordPress. You could easily make it Linktree with a blog. So I'm going to hit save and close. And at this point, we should be on a screen like this where we can click start collecting, and it's going to be sitting and waiting for traffic to be loading. So I'm going to minimize the screen here just a little bit, and let me refresh with the snippet of code in there, and this should just flick in a sec. Once this snippet of code is loaded with it, there you are. So it's telling us that we have one current visitor on the website. That would be me. And it's going to give us some information about this. If you click on this little arrow, you're actually presented a different screen with a gear where you can go into the settings. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now on a different screen and go into the site settings, and that's going to look like this. Now that I'm in the site settings, I can go ahead and add goals, and if we follow the tutorial, we need to add something that looks like this, outbound link click, so that way everything is tracked. So they give you this snippet here. So I'm going to add a goal, custom event, call it exactly what they're asking me to call it. Add goal, success, it's been added, go back to stats. So now that it's in there, we can go ahead and test the website, so the one that we built. Let's refresh just a few times so that that snippet of code is in there. So it is seeing me in there. And now if we click, say, on newsletter, and I'm going to go back on purpose and refresh and click on Sycamore Design blog and refresh and go back. And I'm just messing around here because I want to trigger some events from happening. And there we are. So now it's showing us it's already starting to detect the things that are happening. So if I click on here, it's actually going to tell me the exact URLs that were clicked and the amount of times that they were clicked. So if I go back and again, I mess around a little more, and I'm doing this pretty quickly, so it might be a bit messy, but there it is. The metrics are coming in. And now say you were an influencer and your name is Sam Sycamore, you'd be able to tell that this link is actually getting, much more traffic than this link is getting. So that's the idea of actually adding also tracking to your clicks and not just, getting general traffic about your profile. So I can exit out of this little filter. And if more people would visit my website, everything is going to slowly start to populate over here. That way I can get an overall, bird's eye view of everything. So in this video, we got a taste of what it's like to launch a Linktree-like profile with WordPress, Page Builder, Elementor, and Plausible to track all the metrics that we wanted. If anyone has any questions about what we covered in this video, feel free to ask in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you enjoyed this video and would like to support the channel, the easiest way to do so is by hitting the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thank you all for watching.